Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Behind the Bite, the podcast where we take you behind the science, technology, and people protecting public health from mosquitoes. I'm your host, Jen McBride, Communications Director for Lee County Mosquito Control District. If you've ever wondered what mosquito control really does, why aircraft fly overhead, how scientists track diseases, or what it takes to protect an entire community from mosquito-borne illnesses, you're in the right place. Today, I couldn't think of a better guest to kick off our series than our Executive Director, Aaron Lloyd. Aaron, thanks for being here and congratulations on your new role.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Excited to launch the podcast.
Yeah, first one. So it's a little nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah,
We're, just kind of learning as we go along.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of have a segment here of how it's going to go. So the first part is the most memorable mosquito moment. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So we're going to start off the podcast with our most memorable moment, mosquito moment. Can you paint a picture for the listeners of maybe your most memorable mosquito moment?
Yeah, probably the most memorable moment was when I realized what it felt like to not have mosquito control. So I've been in Florida since I was 12 years old. We've always had mosquitoes, but because we have mosquito control in different parts of the state, I never realized how much it was working. So when I was in field research in my 20s, I was in college. One of my tasks was to go on an island right off Cedar Key, Florida, where there was never mosquito control. So this used to be mainland Cedar Key, but hurricanes and some other things wiped it out. So the town backed up to mainland. But that land was owned by the federal government, so there was never mosquito control, and you weren't allowed to do any mosquito control. So they contracted with my previous employer to see if we could help out with environmentally safe type options. And I just remember my boss told me that it was going to be bad.
Okay.
And so I suited up. I had pants, I had closed-toe shoes, long sleeve shirts, and then I put DEET-soaked jackets on over, and then put DEET head nets on with a hat.
So you were prepared.
I was prepared.
Okay,
I was trying to cover every inch of my body.
Yeah.
And as soon as I stepped 10 foot onto that island, the mosquitoes were so bad, even with the DEET, the smell of the DEET, they were bouncing off of my neck.
Wow.
They were trying to figure out how to get in and bite, trying to find a clear spot.
Was it like they were desperate to get a blood meal?
Yes,
Wow.
just desperate.
Oh my gosh.
As soon as they sensed I was there, it was just thousands and thousands.
Oh my gosh.
That island it was simply uninhabitable. You couldn't even walk on it.
Yeah, and it's easy for us to forget because we're used to mosquito control. In fact, I was at an event where I was presenting, talking about mosquito control and kind of what it was like before we had mosquito control and the population boom we had. And I had a guest come up to me afterwards, and she said, I don't have to think about mosquitoes in Lee County. She said, I am from up north, and they were horrendous up north because we didn't have mosquito control.
That's what we like to hear.
So yeah, I thought that was an interesting viewpoint of even just the difference between, living up north and here.
Yeah,
So yeah. Okay. That is definitely a memorable moment. I bet you couldn't wait to get off that island.
No, at least provide some control. And so kind of a follow-up to that is we were using mosquito traps, and it was a 25-acre island. And within 3 weeks, I was doing my work in shorts and a tank top.
Wow.
Still getting bit.
Really?
But it was amazingly different just by putting traps in.
That's tremendous.
Right. Yeah,
so just the traps.
just
You weren't
the traps.
larviciding or adulticiding?
No, because what the idea was before we started our techniques was to try to catch as many mosquitoes as we could, just to get a little bit of a jump on them.
Okay. And this is salt marsh mosquito, I'm assuming, along the coast there?
Aedes tenerincus.
Which is our nemesis here for sure. Yeah, absolutely, in Lee County. Yep. Okay. All right. So we're going to start the interview process where we're going to get to know you a little more.
Okay.
All right. So let's start with the question that everybody asks. How did you end up working in mosquito control? And was this a career that you ever imagined?
Yeah. So I never really imagined being in mosquito control. I wasn't like the kid that was playing with bugs. How I got into it is I wanted to be a veterinarian.
Okay.
And so when I went to the University of Florida, the plan was to go to vet school,
Uh-huh.
and I had to prepare for that, to go through normal classes. And entomology served two purposes. Entomology was a track that would get me into vet school, and I didn't have to take any extra classes. It was just all bundled in a nice package. And then secondary, it was if you didn't make it into vet school, there were tons of jobs because there's no shortage of jobs in bugs in
Yeah,
Florida, right?
for
So
sure.
the idea was, well, plan A is I get into vet school with entomology degree. Plan B is that I go to work.
Yeah.
And truth be told, I got into the medical veterinarian entomology route. And so for
Okay.
those listening that don't know, entomology is simply the study of bugs. When I got into the med vet route, I was so fascinated with the different vectors and the pathogens that they were spreading, and the devastating diseases that people and animals
Yeah.
had to deal with. I never even applied to vet school. I went into graduate school for entomology, and that's when I dedicated my career to public health, basically.
Okay. And so that was the hook, was the vector-borne
Yep.
diseases, the disease factor. Yeah.
Yep.
It is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How this tiny insect can wreak havoc on so many things.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. And so what was it about mosquito control that really made you decide to stay in the industry?
It's protecting people and animals.
Mhm.
I love animals. I
You
like
have
people
animals.
too.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a relief for all of us here at Mosquito
Yeah.
Control.
Yeah, but I love animals, and I've just always been somebody that wants to help and I want to protect. And I just realized that there was a need for people just to study these pathogens and try to figure out how to stop the vectors.
Yeah.
And that's what hooks me in. It's like I just want to make sure that Lee County residents and their animals never have to worry about disease. Now, obviously, that's a lofty goal. It's a fight every day,
Yeah.
but that's the goal, is to never have to worry about disease.
Yeah. And I know you're an animal lover because I know you. You have dogs.
Yep.
So, and I think this is a good place to kind of insert for our citizens listening that, dog heartworm or even cat heartworm is from the mosquito.
Yep.
So,
Yep, absolutely.
yeah, it's
And a lot of mosquitoes carry it.
Right.
That's the bad part about heartworm, is with your human diseases like dengue, Tripoli, there's a small set of mosquitoes, maybe 5-6 species and under. Dog heartworm, it's 20 plus species.
Wow.
We have about 54 species just in our county alone.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one.
Yeah, I
battle.
think the misconception is that we're controlling all mosquitoes, and the reality is we just control the ones that bite the humans, really, that we're concerned about.
Yep, absolutely.
But there's many more that affect our pets too.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. So well, thank you for doing that. I'm an animal lover too. So as you know, I just got my first dog, and every month I'm like, did we give Louie the so because I know the devastation that mosquitoes can cause for our pets too. All right. So you've worked in several different roles over the years. How has that experience shaped the way you lead today?
So the first half of my career, I was in mosquito research and mainly in the field. So I was a field technician working for a scientist as I was going through graduate school. And so I'm in the field. I'm setting traps. I'm going through swamps. I'm spraying for mosquitoes, trapping mosquitoes, trying to find larvae. So I'm hunting larvae to try to stop mosquitoes. But it was just in the name of research.
Okay.
So we were trying to figure out better ways to do it and how to get ahead of the game, and then try to advise mosquito controls on what they need to do to have the win or to be in the win column.
Okay.
Second part of my career, I've been in administration in operational mosquito control. So assistant director, executive director, I've been doing that for around 15 years now. I would like to think that my experience at least gives our team the confidence that they have somebody who's not only empathetic to what they deal with every day, because it's a tough job. It is not easy being out in the heat, number one, and then you're being bit by mosquitoes. You're out just going into areas that most people don't go into, having to watch out for snakes, alligators, being bit by mosquitoes, just not a great situation.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that they realize in their leader that they have somebody that's empathetic to that, understands
You've lived it. You've done it. You know how hard it is.
I know exactly what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I've been in mosquito control for about 28 years now. I know how to control mosquitoes. And I know what the techniques are, and I just hope that they have confidence that their leader has information that they can give them to help guide them and mentor them through issues that they may see during the day, and then they can just have a vote of confidence in that.
Yeah. And I'm just going to add to this a little bit. I think, the hardest part about being a leader is a lot of times the people part, for sure. Because we're all different. We're all motivated in different ways. We all come to work for different reasons. And I think that the one thing that I'm going to take back from you, just in the short 2 months you've been in this position, we know you have the content. I think the thing that I'm excited about personally is the people side that you're bringing to it.
Thank you.
Even tomorrow, the executive team, we have homework of, what kind of leaders are we? And are we the leaders that we need to be here at Mosquito Control for the people? So, I just want to mention that. That's important. A lot of times we think that I've had leaders before, and I'm sure you too, where you think because you have the content that you're the that's the leader part.
Right.
So I'm really excited. I know we're working on a lot of things for our employees of how can we be better leaders? How can we be the leader that everyone needs, not just one person?
Thanks.
So you have to adapt to different personalities, which
For
is,
sure.
the people part is always hard. The mosquitoes are easy, actually.
Yeah.
So,
That's a good point.
I just had to say that. I was actually studying for my homework for tomorrow that we have for the executive.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready, boss. I'm ready. Okay, let's see. All right. So now I asked a few personal questions, just kind of get your experience a little bit. So now we're going to move into the next part of what does mosquito control really do? So, this is the part that there's a lot of misconceptions around it. So, and we could go on and on about those. So I think the biggest misconception is that mosquito control is all we do is spray mosquitoes. That's it. That's what we do. In other words, it revolves around chemicals and pesticides, right? Okay. So when someone asks, what do you do? How do you explain in layman's terms, to the everyday person, what is mosquito control?
So it's kind of funny. Usually when I get that question, it's always one of two reactions. Somebody asks me, they meet me, and they say, what do you do for a living? I work for mosquito control. They either ask me, so do you drive the fog truck?
Okay.
And I look at them, I go, not exactly.
Right.
But we do have fog trucks. I have. But and the other one is mosquito control. I hate mosquitoes. And I'm like, yeah, me too. I've created a career to try to figure out how to kill them. So,
right.
But if they're engaged enough to get by those little jokes, what I try to do always is tie it into public health.
Okay.
Because it's I like to give the example, if you had a pest control company that you hired to take care of roaches in your house, within a couple months, those roaches are going to be gone. And they're gone because the pest control company's doing their job.
Yeah.
And soon, it doesn't take very long for people to feel like, hey, I don't have a roach problem anymore. But that's not the case. It's the pest control companies doing their job. Same thing with mosquito control. We do such a good job that many people don't realize we even have a mosquito problem. And then many people don't realize that we're fighting diseases probably close to daily.
Yes.
I mean, it's definitely consistent. But I try to just make that public health tie-in to let people know that it is a very important job for the community.
Yeah. And I think the hard part about our job is, luckily our community, I always say they don't have to wake up and worry about getting a mosquito-borne virus.
Yeah.
So we've taken away that worry. And sometimes when you don't have that worry, you don't realize it's even there.
That's right.
So, which is a good thing because that means we're doing our job. But, it's kind of that double-edged sword of, we're so proactive that we don't have to be reactive when it's people's lives at stake. So, yeah, I think it's, we want to get the word out there that it's truly about public health.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely. Okay. People may not realize how many different careers make this organization successful. Again, the misconception is we just spray, right?
Yeah.
Can you give an idea of who works here?
Yeah, we have a lot of different positions, so I'll try not to forget anybody.
Okay.
We've got pilots, we have aircraft mechanics, we have fleet mechanics, we have facilities, we have scientists. So we have entomologists, we have biologists, we have people with PhDs that have dedicated their academic career to trying to figure out how to control bugs. We've got our field personnel. We've got a whole team of administration. We've got the education department. We employ actual train teachers to go out into the school system and or to teach at all grade levels. That is a very unique thing at Lee County.
Yeah.
Can you think of anybody?
Oh gosh, let me think. Yeah, accounting. I don't know if we mentioned them. IT.
Yeah. So we have a whole finance department. We have HR.
Yeah.
We have IT. We have purchasing. I mean, it is a big deal for mosquito control. We are the largest mosquito control, definitely in the United States.
Yeah.
And but the thing I always try to hammer home, every one of those positions is equally important. Everybody has a job to do in mosquito control that helps protect the public.
Yeah.
All the way down to the people that take care of our facilities, to make sure that the people that work here have a good place, a good office, they have the right tools that are functioning, that look good and make you proud to come into work. Even, that is very important to me, is to make sure that people have a nice work environment. And I can't emphasize enough how important everybody's job is.
Yeah, I think I look at it as, there's not one position that's more important than another. We're just all equal.
Yeah,
it's like a puzzle. If you take away one piece, then it's not a complete, so I would agree. I always say we're one-stop shopping here. We've got everything. We literally do everything, which is really, we've got so many talented people here. So we're very, very blessed, very, very blessed. All right. So, now I'm going to go into the next part, which is why it matters. Mosquitoes are more than just a nuisance, of course. Why is mosquito control considered a public health service? We've already touched on this a little bit, but most people don't realize that we're actually public health. Yeah. We are a public health. It's a service we provide to the community.
100%. 100%. So just we hinted at it, but to dive a little bit deeper, so literally, we have to worry about diseases coming into our county, or vector-borne diseases coming into our county every day, and that's through human travel. So if somebody's out traveling, across the world, maybe just right next door in the Caribbean, there's always a chance that they could get sick and bring that back. We have bird migration. A lot of people don't realize that is probably the major player in the game. You have birds that are migrating. There's 2 or 3 migrations every year coming from different parts of the world, and they bring diseases.
2 or 3. Wow, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, and they bring the diseases in, the like mosquito diseases, and then the local mosquitoes that we have that are clean, I put that in quotes. But they're here without the disease. They feed on the birds when they come in and they're resting and they're roosting, and then the diseases start. Okay. And then what happens is it stays in a bird mosquito population, and then at some point it'll spill over into animals, horses. I mean, a whole list of animals, and then at some point it gets to humans. Yeah. So our job is to fight that every day. And so that when the Department of Health calls us and says, hey, we've got a sick person in, say, Cape Coral, we want to make you aware of that, they have dengue. We literally ask our team to go directly where this disease is at and go try to fight those mosquitoes to make sure that other people do not get sick. Right. And that's a pretty scary thing for some people, and I just think a lot of people don't realize that that's part of the job here. And it's constantly, I mean, the enemy, which in our case is the mosquito, is doing everything they can to get in and bite people, and then it gets them sick, and it's our job to stop that. Yeah.
And I always like to say, they've been around for much longer than us, 100 million years or whatever it is. So they've got these adaptations that we're constantly having to try to overcome. Yes. So very, very difficult task. But I think that's what would surprise most people, is that we go right into, if we get a call from the health department, we go right into that disease plan protocol of we've got to protect our people before it makes the jump from, to someone else. So
if I can, I'll provide a story from my previous employer that was up north, and I've told the employees this story because this is what drives me. When I made the move from mosquito research to operational mosquito control, one of my duties as assistant director at my previous employer was I had to bleed chickens. I had to take the blood to the Tampa lab. I had to monitor the diseases that were occurring in that county.
Uh-huh.
And so when I was told this, my first question was, does it get bad here? Do we have these diseases? And they said, yes, absolutely.
Oh.
Not that it gets bad, but there are diseases. You'll get them in chickens and other animals. Rarely do we get human diseases, but we did have a human disease last year that was fatal. And which was the year before I started working there. And I said, really? And they said, yeah, it was a 2-year-old little girl.
Oh.
She died of triple E. And I just remember, and I couldn't believe that it got that serious right here in Florida. And I just remember thinking, I don't want to ever have to get on a phone call with a mom when they just lost their child to a mosquito-borne disease. And if I ever did have to get on that phone to talk about that, I wanted to know I was doing everything I could. Because there's always, things slip by.
Sure.
There's freak accidents that happen. But that is what drives me. And that's the reason I'm so serious about public health.
Yeah. Very important. So absolutely. Again, proactive rather than reactive.
Absolutely.
Where people are, harmed by it or unfortunately worse. So, all right. So let me see here. When you look at Lee County, what keeps you and your team focused every day, do you think? And we're kind of generalizing for everyone here, but the kind of the general overview. How do we keep everyone focused here?
Man, we're kind of beating the drum, but it's the public health.
Sure is.
I try really hard to let our employees know they're not just out dipping larvae every day. They're not out just driving the streets treating larvae like that. That is what they're doing physically, but that's not the focus. The focus is that you're trying to make sure that diseases do not set into our county and that they don't get into our people or our animals. That's the focus. And in order to maintain that focus, you have these rallying meetings, you keep them informed, you communicate, and you just try to always keep that in the front to make sure that hey, we've got an enemy that's working overtime, not just
24/7.
They are working overtime to try to figure out how to get in and make us look like we're not doing our job. So we have to put our shield up. We have to maintain our focus to stay ahead of the game.
Yeah, all in the heat. I always tell myself if I'm having a bad day, I don't have a right to complain because I'll step outside and go, oh my gosh, it's so hot out here. And I think, gosh, I don't have any right to complain. I'm in here in the air conditioning. So I give them credit for going out there. I definitely could not do it. Absolutely. All right. So innovation. Let's talk about innovation. I think this is going to be shocking for our people because, again, a lot of people have this misconception about what mosquito control really is. So we've been known nationally, if not in the world, for our innovation. We've talked a lot about some different things, but can you kind of talk about some of the innovation that we have here at Mosquito Control that most people would be shocked about?
Yeah. So SIT.
Yeah.
So sterile insect technique. We have a developed operational SIT program here at Lee County. It's pretty unique, very forward thinking. It is a really important program for to hopefully stop diseases that are spread by Aedes aegypti. Aedes aegypti is arguably the most important vector that we deal with. They vector things like yellow fever, Zika, dengue, chikungunya. And so I guess the downfall to SIT is we're only talking about one species. So this isn't something that is going to replace traditional mosquito control techniques, but it's a tool in the toolbox. We also have things like LIDAR. LIDAR is this machine that shoots millions of lasers from say our helicopter down to the ground, and it's basically getting return signals, and then it builds an elevation map of whatever you're flying over. And you have the ability, we have GIS specialists, if I didn't mention that earlier, we have GIS specialists that will work on these maps, and they'll wipe away these layers and get down to the ground layer to really ID maybe cryptic spots where the mosquitoes are hiding. So that is also pretty, that's groundbreaking in our industry. I think that's going to provide some of the most precise mosquito control that this industry has ever seen. And so, innovation is one of those things you have to innovate to just stay ahead of the game. I've said that a couple of times.
Stay ahead of the mosquito, really.
Really, stay ahead of the mosquito.
It's constantly adapting.
Because the mosquito innovates. People don't think about it, and even the pathogens they transmit innovate. So a mosquito, there's many insecticides that this industry used in the 60s and 70s that we can't use anymore because mosquitoes built resistance against them. So we really have a small list of chemicals that we have that are even available to go after mosquitoes, partially because they're able to build resistance to these sprays. So they're innovating. They're trying to figure out how to beat us. And then even the pathogens. So you have pathogens that are trying to figure out how to change hosts that is going to carry them, or change vectors that are going to vector them so that they can get into another end host, whatever that would be. And so you have these pathogens that are mutating, trying to figure out how to be more effective at survival. Yeah. And so and when you have innovation like that, biological innovation, we've got to innovate. We have no other choice.
Yeah. And I've mentioned this before, but I think the aha for me coming into this industry, I've been here about 3 years, is the very short list of insecticides we have, really. And that we are not about the insecticides. We are about the science and the precision and finding them and making sure we're only treating when we need to.
Yes.
In other words, the surveillance part, I think, was the aha for me, that it's not a spray schedule. It's, I always say we're dictated by two things, mosquitoes and weather, really.
Yep.
And that really makes it the precise part very important.
Yes.
Precision
Absolutely.
is extremely, and we're constantly looking how can we be more precise to find the mosquitoes, to treat the mosquitoes, and fight diseases. So I'm really excited about the LiDAR part.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be really great technology that's going to help us. I'm excited for everybody to kind of learn about what it can do.
Me too.
Will you give the example of Beautiful Island just to kind of give everyone an idea of what it could do? We're just kind of learning about it. But
Yep. So, we're talking about, I just gave the example of LiDAR finding cryptic habitats or where mosquitoes are hiding. Well, there's another bonus to LiDAR is that we can really evaluate the treatment polygons that we have. And so Beautiful Island's a 110-acre island in the Caloosahatchee that we treat the whole island 2 to 3 times a year. So that means that an inspector goes out, they find mosquitoes, we treat 110 acres worth of that island and hopefully control the mosquitoes. And then we have inspections until we find mosquitoes again and we retreat. Well, you can't, when you have as much habitat as we have 56,000 acres of salt marsh in this county. Some of the most prolific breeding that we have in the state. So you can't get boots on the ground to every single acre. And so what happens is these inspectors are checking their spots where they know that they're going to have breeding if there is breeding. And then they light the whole polygon up and they treat. Well, LiDAR gives you the ability to paint the picture, figure out what the ground really looks like with the LiDAR map. And in Beautiful Island, we realized that there was about 55% of the island that should not have been or didn't need treating.
Because it wasn't holding water.
Because it wasn't holding water. It was high enough to where the water was just rolling off of it. It wasn't standing, so the mosquitoes couldn't breed. So we were dropping insecticide that it was just on the ground. Right. And we had no idea. So we were able to get that precise treatment on Beautiful Island. We reduced that polygon down by 55%. Wow. We saved approximately $15,000 a year just in chemical. And so more precise, cost savings, more environmentally sound, and we got the same control. And that's why I'm so excited about LiDAR. And so we have hundreds of polygons, hundreds of treatment polygons, and we're talking about just one polygon.
Okay. All right. I think that's a good time are you ready for this, Aaron? Okay, here we go. An applause. That's great news. That is definitely great news for sure. So, and that's just one really polygon. We've got hundreds. Yeah. So that's definitely, and we're just kind of starting to use this science. So I'm excited to see where it's going to take us and how other people are going to use it, because that's really what it's about, is sharing so that we're, being able to be more precise, not with us, but across the United States, really. Right. Okay. So, let me ask one last question and then we get to the fun part. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. What excites you most about where mosquito control is headed over the next 5 to 10 years? So I know this is kind of you just took over, no pressure here, but where are we headed, Aaron?
I think success. I think we're going to get better. We're going to get more precise. I think we're already really good at our jobs, and we're figuring out how to just get a little bit better, and it drives us. But it's the science.
Yeah.
So historically, I don't want to say so. Science just wasn't really leaned on, and I'm talking about decades ago. People were just learning the basics. How do we control mosquitoes? And so we're standing on their shoulders, right? The ones that started all of this, and every generation since then has added something to that. So by now we've been doing. So Florida has had mosquito control since 1925, so a little over 100 years.
Okay.
And we're doing a pretty good job. We're a responsible industry. We're definitely don't look like we did back in 1925 or even really the 1970s.
Yeah.
But the science is what's exciting to me, because we lean on science, on operational science more and more. So that's an important distinction for me, and maybe for the listeners, is our science that we get into is operational or applied science.
Mm-hmm.
So we are not into the science that's curiosities.
Right.
So if you have a curiosity, like I wonder if this species of mosquito breeds with this species, will they have offspring? Like that's not our game, because you kill them the same way. And so our science is operational, very operational. We need answers quickly, and we need data to support what we're doing. And we need to get it out in the field as soon as possible. So that is what excites me about the next 5-10 years, because I think it's just getting better.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, this county doesn't look anything like it did back in the 50s, 60s.
Absolutely not.
And our people, our team, we have approximately 25 or 30 people that are out actually in the field treating and surveying for mosquitoes. And those folks have to take care of 850,000 people in Lee County. 850,000. And we just have to make sure that
no pressure, right?
No
pressure.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big job. So, but that's what excites me, is the science to figure out how to get them that edge.
Yeah.
Like they need the tools, they need the techniques to better do their job, and they do an amazing job, but there's always room for improvement.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is exciting for sure. So, okay. So it's a good time for another sound effect. You ready for this one?
Uh-huh.
All right. Aaron doesn't know these. You ready?
Oh. That's Anopheles quadrimaculatus.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, if it was true.
Well, if it were true, we're going to pretend it is. We won't tell anybody it wasn't. So, okay, we're on to the fun part. Are you ready? I'm really excited about this. So you don't know what I'm asking here. So take a deep breath.
All right.
I work hard, but we also like to have fun. Yeah. So we're going to have a little bit of fun getting to know Aaron. Okay.
All
right. Here we go. All right. So we're going to call these quick bites. So they're quick answers. All right. We won't dwell on any of them.
Okay.
So you're going to give the first answer that comes to mind.
Okay.
All right. So beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Mountains. Okay. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Early bird. Fishing or boating?
Fishing.
Okay. Key lime pie or apple pie?
Key lime.
Oh, you are quick on these. Yeah.
A lot of Florida. This Florida's
there is.
Coming out.
Okay. Are you ready for this one? I couldn't wait for this one. I can barely say it without laughing out loud. All right. I'm going to try not to laugh when I say it. Would you rather fight one chicken-sized mosquito or 100 mosquito-sized chickens? Want me to say it again?
Well, no, I got it. I'm just trying to figure out which one I don't want to fight. I think one chicken-sized mosquito.
Could you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Maybe baseball bat.
Yeah, it's like Jurassic Park gone bad, right? All right. Would you rather be chased by a swarm of mosquitoes or a flock of angry geese?
Geese.
All right. You had no idea what you were in for here, did you?
No idea.
Okay. All right. What's your hidden talent? Do you have it? Well, I know one I can share, but
I think my ability to blend in.
Okay.
I can be in a room. I feel like I can be in a room with anybody and have a really good conversation with them, work-wise or not.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. What's something you're surprisingly bad at?
I think talking on podcasts.
Okay. I would disagree. But that was a great answer. So, if mosquitoes disappeared tomorrow, what would you do with your free time?
I would go fishing.
Go fishing.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Either that or, I wanted to be in law enforcement.
I did not know that.
At some point, because my dad was a career law enforcement officer.
Yeah.
So maybe I'd pull a Shaquille O'Neal and retire and try to go to a law enforcement.
Okay, there we go. Awesome. If you could instantly become an expert in something unrelated to mosquitoes, what do you think it would be? Do you have an interest in something where you just wish you could absorb all of that knowledge where you're suddenly an expert like you are at mosquitoes?
So it would be the small animal science. So because of the veterinarian, I have a deep interest in veterinarian science. Okay. And mosquitoes allow me to live that out a little bit because we deal with dog heartworm.
Sure.
There's other type of issues that animals can have. And I think I would really dive into that.
Okay, awesome. All right, one more. What's one mosquito myth you wish everyone would stop believing? My gosh, we could talk about this one all day.
So I don't know if the video is going to post, but University of Florida did not create love bugs to control mosquitoes.
Okay, I love it. Yes, I've heard a lot of those.
Yes.
So excellent. My favorite is that we release dragonflies from the helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I have people that will say, no, you used to do it. Like I had no clue that we used to do that, but we didn't.
Yeah, no,
so we've never done that. Never. So okay, we're into our final question. Ready? If every resident listening today remembered just one thing about mosquito control, what would you want it to be?
So I think it's that we're not just nozzle heads. We're not just out spraying. We're not just fog trucks. That's a very, very small piece of the puzzle. Okay. And we're actually I feel like we're a pretty complex public health agency. We have an integrated mosquito management program, which that just means you have a bunch of tools that are environmentally sound, and you're hitting the target from different angles to try to stay ahead of the control game. And I want people to realize how complex that is, and also we in our industry we hear about the famous quote from the Virginia congressman back in the 1800s. Where he said nobody in their right mind would want to move to Florida because of the quagmires, the gators, and the mosquitoes. Yeah. It was horrible. And I'm paraphrasing, but that was the gist of it, is that he visited down here and he thought, my gosh, there's no way that that land's not going to be developed. Part of the reason that land's developed has been able to be developed, and the reason we have good tourism and people are able to enjoy beautiful Florida is because of mosquito control. Yeah, we're part of that reason. And I want people to keep that in the front of their mind because, like I said earlier with the roach example for pest control, when you do such a good job, sometimes people don't realize exactly how bad the problem can be.
Yeah, and we're very blessed actually to be able to do this and protect public health. I know everyone here takes it very seriously. We come into our job every day, and I feel very blessed. Me too. So very blessed. Too. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So Aaron, thank you so much for joining us and helping us launch Behind the Bite. How do you like that name? It's pretty creative, huh?
Great.
Behind the Bite. Yes. Okay. And I really couldn't think of a better person to kick this off. Thank you got a lot of knowledge, and I know our employees and our citizens are really excited to get to know you a little better. Yeah. We tried to make some personal in there with it.
You did a great job.
Thank you. And I want to thank everyone for listening to our very first episode. We hope you enjoyed going behind the bite with us today. So if you have a mosquito question you've always wondered about, or you've heard a mosquito myth you'd like us to tackle, send it our way. Your question might be on the next one we pull. We're going to have a buzz jar, Aaron, where we pull citizens' questions. Of course, this is the first one, so we didn't have any. We want our citizens to email us and get involved in the podcast of some things that they just don't know about, so we can help them become experts. Yeah. So we're going to have another episode. We're going to post that and we'll let everybody know. But I just want to thank you again for, trusting us to have you on this podcast. You just never know. So thank you very much.
You were easy on me. So okay.
Well, I'll ask the hard questions later. Guys, I got it. We're going to give them later. So, all right. And I forgot to do the intro. So now I'm going to do the intro as our exit. Ready for this?
I'm ready.
All right. We got a good song here.
Ooh, that's a good song.
Bluesy. All right.
Oh,
and
man.
that's
going to
it.
be our signature intro.
It is.
All
It is
right.
absolutely.
Love it.
And
Love it.
that's it for Behind the Bite. Thanks for joining us.